come with beautiful secrets. We come with purpose as written on our hearts, written on our souls. We come to every new morning with possibilities only we can hold, that only we can hold. Redemption comes in strange places, small spaces, calling out the best of who we are. And I wanna add to the beauty to tell a better story. Oh, shine with the light that's burning up inside. Oh, oh, oh. It comes in small inspirations. It brings redemption to life and work, to our life and our work. It comes in loving community. It's helping the soul to find its worth, or to find its worth. Redemption comes in strange places, small spaces, calling out the best of who we are. So I wanna add to the beauty to tell a better story. Oh, shine with the light that's burning up inside. Oh, 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 and this is grace, an invitation to be beautiful. Yes, this is grace, an invitation.
Redemption comes in strange places, small spaces. It's calling out our best.
And I wanna add to the beauty. Oh, and I wanna shine with the light that's burning up inside. Oh, add to the beauty to tell a better story. Oh, shine with the light that's burning up inside. Oh, oh,
Thank you. That was gorgeous. I love you just singing out over there behind the keys, Sydney. Yes. Yeah, so just a quick introduction. We have Sydney Erickson on the keys. We have Bill McCrossan on the bass and Jill Fredrickson on the drums. Fabulous support through music today. And I do want to mention, some of you have been like, where's Summer? She's supposed to be here. She is in town. She is preparing to do a special event at Mile High. I told her that'll be the first and the last. Just kidding. They're our competition. Not really. So she's preparing for that, and then she will be with us starting next Sunday. So Summer Osborne is our new music director. If you don't know, you're in for a treat. So this morning, go ahead, whistle. Do it. This morning, I'm kicking off a series on the book, roughly on the book, using the book, but on the Gospel of Mary Magdalene Revealed. The book that I'm using as a resource was written by Megan Watterson. Mary Magdalene Revealed, the first apostle, her feminist gospel, and the Christianity we haven't tried yet. I want to just point out that Megan has a master's from Harvard Divinity School, and she's a graduate with a master's of divinity at Union Theological Seminary at Columbia. So for anyone whose heresy monitors going off, she's got some training. And also, the word feminist can also bring up some stuff. And I just want to really plainly say what I appreciate about the message that she's bringing is simply to elevate the voice of the feminine, not to the disadvantage of the masculine voice, but I think we can agree that voice has been elevated, right? And so we're returning and remembering the presence, the very powerful presence of the feminine in the early Christian movement. And what remembering that brings back to the story for us all. Megan Watterson often talks about how Christianity came to be in part as a dismemberment, dismembering parts of the story. Part of a main one was the influence and the impact of women in the movement. And in particular, this particular woman, who I'm guessing some of you have heard a few things about that were a little scandalous. Anybody ever heard of Mary Magdalene? One person? Oh my God, okay, we're good. We got some work to do. Don't worry. Today's lesson is to kind of set the foundation, a little bit of who she was, a little history about her, and then to consider why would this be ripped out? Literally, her gospel that has been found, there are 3 copies. All 3 copies have the first 4 pages removed. Now, you think about today, when you hear the books that are banned, don't you want to read those books? You're like, something powerful was in this that I believe is worth rediscovering. And so that is the purpose of why I'm bringing this series to you today, or over the next several weeks, and I'll talk more about what that will mean. So overall, why I'm bringing this forward is to remember the history of this movement in its purest form before it was tainted through the lens of power and empire and patriarchy, and all of that we know went on to shape the Christian movement. For what it might offer us today as we look at those influences, as we're uncovering how those influences are still alive and well, and altering the version of the story and who matters and all of that. And to remember also that Jesus was fully human and fully divine. As we'll see, there was an actual effort, a choice made in the early Christian church to eliminate that focus from the story, to really elevate his divinity above all other people. And that has an impact on the story that we get today. And the value and the purpose that he, I think, was bringing to begin with was like, please don't do that. I'm trying to show you and teach you something about you. I want you to wake up to it. I want you to know it. And instead it became something to worship. And it got handed down in sort of doctrine instead of practices. And so what's really powerful, particularly around Mary Magdalene, is, as we'll see, there were practices, very, very practical practices, for turning inward and making that connection. Not not to just learn what Jesus was teaching as if that's something that he does. Isn't that amazing? But what can I do to connect with that reality that he was showing us? And the early movement was radically inclusive. It was included. He was, as I've said, I feel like all the time, he was hanging out with the outcasts, with the people who needed support, who had been outcast for social reasons, for health reasons, for the many reasons that you were considered unwelcome or unholy or unclean. He wasn't afraid. He went right to those people. And certainly there was an inclusion and a participation in leadership roles by women. And that matters because still today in the church, there are places that women are not allowed. That's just weird. I mean, because you are diminishing half of the race from their view. And in so doing, if you really take it inward, you're making a statement for all people and the diminishing part of them, of all people. So, I want us to remember, so part of what this is about too, and this aligns well with unity. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, often spoke about trying to reclaim or to connect with first-generation Christianity. So what was the teaching actually before it got construed into an institution that instilled power, that gained power, instilled fear, and oh, by the way, we're the only ones that can calm that fear. You got to come to us, just a few of us, and we'll do some things for you and get you right with God. I mean, come on. Who was it the other day that said, her like 13 or 15-year-old heard some portion of this and said, people believe this? So that's on us. We're waking up to realize how power contorts reality. So for the next 2,000 years, in the wake of that, women have been purposely excluded from the story, from the spiritual lineage, which we can still feel today. It feels important to realize that it wasn't always that way, that there's evidence that Jesus himself welcomed women, that women were crucial in the founding of the movement, and that Mary Magdalene in particular was of particular importance to him. Most likely, his partner in some capacity, some believe his wife. Some go so far as to consider her the Holy Grail because she held his children and birthed continued the bloodline of these two really spiritually elevated people that could impact humanity for the good. Beyond that, what we're missing from the teaching by missing her as one that was said to have been the closest to him, to whom Jesus taught things that he did not teach the others. What were they? And how can we learn about them? In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, there's a quote that says, Peter said to Mary, "Sister, we know that the Savior," don't panic about that word, we'll unpack it, "that the Savior loved you more than other women. Tell us his words that you remember, the things which you know that we don't, because we have never heard them." So there are aspects of this teaching. Now, just think about what I was kind of struck by was, if this is someone who is intimate with him, I mean, his disciples as males loved him, they appreciated him, they wanted to learn from him and embody what he was teaching. But this is someone who is devoted to him in a different capacity. Do you know how the people you love, right, you hear them differently? Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's. But you are devoted a little more to listening, to trying to work through the things that you may not understand, right? So just from that real practical way, she brings a listening to what he's teaching, the profoundness of which is not just, it's a leap in consciousness. It's connecting humanity with a higher realization. It's huge. And so we need all the voices and all the capacities to integrate it and to bring it to life. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of history, okay? The Gospel of Mary facts. There are 3 copies found at different times in Egypt. They had been written in 2 different languages. Coptic was the Egyptian language, and Greek. Now, why were they in Egypt? Just curious. So don't forget that the Romans killed Jesus for what he was teaching. But there were a whole lot of people who believed him and felt transformed by this teaching and wanted it to continue. Would you want to go out front and center if someone had just been killed for teaching that? No, so you kind of go underground. There's underground teachings. They're doing it in people's homes quietly. And as we know, I know you know this, the Emperor Constantine, the Roman Emperor Constantine in 313 would go on to declare Christianity the official language of the empire, and language. Religion, faith of the empire. But not all of Christianity. They would decide which versions of the written documents, the Gospels, the teachings that had been being passed on orally through all these different teachers. They would consciously decide which version of that would go through. And if you were caught teaching the other ones, guess what? Not good. So at some point, they outlaw the teachings from those other Gospels. And there are others. Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Thomas. You've heard of some of these, known as the Gnostic Gospels. Some smart people say, there's important things in here. Get them out of here. So there's a lot of stuff that shows up in Egypt that people put in jars and hidden in the world. Gosh, I have had too much coffee. They hid them in the world, is what they did, in the ground and in caves and stuff. And lo and behold, in the 1945, this Nag Hammadi library was found with these documents. This is crazy. This is awesome. This is Dan Brown stuff. The Da Vinci codes, right? Here's what, so the Gnostics just get termed the Gnostics. They're all different writings and teachings. They're not, the thing that unifies them is that they focus on self-knowledge. Uh-oh. We can't have that if we're building a big church. I'm just going to say that. Okay. Self-knowledge, or the knowledge that comes from direct experience. And that is what got left out of the main story. That there is that within us that can connect with and know a depth of our spirit, a depth of the Spirit. And that is absolutely what we talk about most frequently here, is that we have a direct awareness of it. We can connect with it. We can grow into it. We can be guided and healed and transformed by it. But how many of you have heard, really, all that you know much about Mary Magdalene is that she was a prostitute? Oh, now we got more people saying yes to that. Okay. So here's the thing. We first hear of Mary Magdalene in Luke 8, verse 2. Mary is referred to as someone Jesus cured of evils, evil spirits, demons, and ailments, out of whom he sent 7 demons. Now, it wasn't until 591 that Pope Gregory contorted that into she was a prostitute. It's linked to that homily. He made it up. Now, there's some reasons. There's some other stories. There's some other people that were talked about as prostitutes, and she comes right after there. So, okay. But in 1969, the Catholic Church issued a quiet apology and made her a saint. So just please know, just consider that that story has shadowed this person and what she could offer to the story itself for all of those years. Now, clearly there was a healing, a profound healing that would lead her to go on to become Jesus' most devout follower and teacher in his path, after his death, and quite possibly his partner. I love this, that A Course in Miracles refers to the tiny mad ideas of the ego as demons. So she was freed of these demons, which are the egoic capacities that we all have through his teachings, which he was trying to teach for all of us, and to warn about creating systems of being from that mentality, from that consciousness, is dangerous. And we're seeing that. We know that. So what this book will go on to talk about, and what we will spend the next several weeks on, is what Mary lays out to be the 7 climates of the ego that get us trapped, and how we can recognize that and begin to awaken to a different way, catch ourselves. Isn't that awesome? Okay, you're welcome. And what's at stake here, really? What's at stake that Megan Watterson does such a beautiful job of saying this, is what's at stake is spiritual authority. Who has the spiritual authority to speak on behalf of who some people called the first apostle? I'll tell you why. And her power, her presence, this Pope had the power to do that. And who has had the power to speak for spiritual authority for millions and millions and millions of people? The Pope or the priest or the whoever. And you know what? I'm not really all about, I don't want to, this isn't about like shaming them and blaming them, but it's about recognizing. This is a lineage of your spiritual authority. You have the right to know who you are as a spiritual being, and also to welcome the fullness of your humanity. Not to demonize it, which has also been done, and also often scapegoated onto women. So it's huge. It's a huge message. Underneath it all, there was this theme of Mary's gospel that the true church lives in the human heart. And you know that, don't you? But you don't always believe it. And that's the authority you have to begin to believe that, above all the things that your mind will tell you against it. So, once we look more closely at the canonical scriptures, there's actually quite a bit about her that does not liken her to a prostitute. This Mary Magdalene is the Mary of Mary and Martha, the sister of Lazarus. This is the Mary who washes Jesus' feet, supposedly with her tears. It is the Mary with the alabaster jar of the expensive oil who anoints his body before he is crucified, a role reserved in the Jewish tradition for wives. And it is this Mary that the resurrected Jesus first appears. That's what earns her the honorary title of the first apostle. She sees him. And Megan Watterson goes so far as to say it was through the eyes of the heart. I know some of you have seen appearances of your grandparents and your mothers. People that you loved have appeared to you, haven't they? If there had been no Mary Magdalene, you see where I'm going? The resurrected Jesus may not have been witnessed, may not have been told about. Now, I know we can go into a whole debriefing about, did that even really happen? Science says that can't happen. There is a story there, a lesson there, that life is more than this physical body. And that there is that within us that can overcome what we don't think we can. And so the idea that it was through this lens of love, she was grieving, she was weeping, and he appears to her and says, go tell the others. Now, I just want to sense that for so many people, half of the population, and the other half of you have sisters and mothers and wives and daughters, this spiritual authority has been denied, has been written out. And it's a reason that a lot of people, not only women, but younger men as well, have left the church. You might not say it in those terms, but just the audacity that a certain half of the population can't serve, can't be taken seriously, can't. So this is an opportunity to remember that and to heal that. Do you sense that? And to heal that part of you, whether you're female or not. Because, gentlemen, the part of that, this is not, as I've said before, it's not about gender. It's about the wholeness of being. It's about, yes, thinking and acting, but also from a place of intuitive and caring and nurturing love. We need both. And the fact that they have been diminished and assigned to certain roles is a human thing. It's a human thing. Man, I could go on. I'd need about another hour. So the good thing is it's a whole series and I'm doing a book group. So you'll hear more about that. So after his death, the apostles, now the people that he appears to and that are called to move out into the world and take his teaching out into they will go all over India, France. Mary Magdalene is said to have gone to France. Peter goes to Italy, and they start teaching their version of what they have learned. And what was that in a nutshell? The kingdom of God is within you. Turn inward to know it, to harmonize with it, to unify with it. And that awareness will change your life. It is from that state of awareness that you can love your neighbor as yourself, which was the other part of that teaching. The initial part of that message was never a message of invasion and conquering and subjugation and advancing the physical empire. He was the antithesis of that. It was a message about conquering that part of us that thinks that we are separate and that acts out in harmful, invasive, and dangerous ways. A message about expanding inwardly to know the depth of love within us and that we can never be separate from it. So, one of these days, people, I'm going to show up without notes, and you're going to love it. You're going to be scared. Why does this matter? We're going to come to a close and have a time of meditation. Mary's gospel helps us to know a Christianity that existed before the formation of the church. All the texts found at Nag Hammadi were pure, meaning they were people writing from the lineage that had learned under Jesus before some pages got ripped out, some pages got included, some pages got left included and made, what would we call that? Canonized. They help us know the full story. And there are some new terms that we'll be learning about that come forward from Mary's gospel. Anthropos is one of them, to be fully human and fully divine. And the most important of her messages is that we are inherently good. That is not the message. I don't know about those of you who, there's many of you who have come here via Catholicism and other faiths. That is not the message that was handed down. We are inherently good. Do we act it all the time? No. That's why we go back to those, learning about those climates, those parts of us that get us caught in thinking all the random things that little demonic part of us can run us ragged with, right? Not demonic like you're going to burn in hell, but when you're under the influence of that, it feels like hell, doesn't it? And if you're not aware of it, I can assure you, you're inflicting that feeling on some people around you. I've been told. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, but. So, the goodness that we are can never be lost because it comes from, Mary was fond of calling God the good. The goodness, the foundation that we are. It can't be lost. We can feel lost to it, but it is woven into the fabric of who we are. It's our very nature. As Megan Watterson likes to say, this great big unseeable love that exists within us. I'll close with this quote from Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene 4, verses 3 through 7. Be on your guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here, look over there, for the child of true humanity exists within you. Follow it. Those who search for it will find it. What have you been trained to follow? What have you gotten hooked to think your value lies in, and that's what you follow? How can we begin to look inward? And yeah, we're going to look through some stuff that we'd rather not see as well. But that's okay, because beneath it and through it is that great big unseeable love. I promise you. So let's turn to that now for a time of meditation. I invite you to take a breath. I'm going to ring our singing bowl that invites us to drop from our head to our hearts, which is that place where we connect with the goodness that we are, the love that we are. I just invite you to take a breath. Feel your feet on the ground, the back of your chair supporting you. Just take a full breath. Letting the things that I've said that have stimulated your mind kind of drop in, integrate a bit. Working with the breath. The breath was a key element of this early movement known as pneuma. The spirit of breath that animates the flesh. There's a spiritual nature to our breath. And it brings us, if we allow it, right into this moment, which is all that really exists. So I invite you, as you catch your breath, to close your eyes or lower your gaze Invite your physical body to relax. You know, you have a physical body, so if it's not relaxed, move it, adjust it, invite it to relax. Breathe into any particular place that feels tense or guarded. Just take a breath. Thinking of this breath, this invisible aspect of our life that we take for granted, is key to the practice of awakening, because it stops the busyness of the mind. It has the potential to. A single breath brings us back to our heart. So just invite you to take a breath physically and just sort of maybe even putting your hands on your heart, experiencing as if you're breathing into your heart space, opening that chakra of energy. And a second breath connects us with what awaits us there. What do you find there when you breathe into that place? Without judgment, without resistance. Letting it be what it is. Opening up and claiming that there is a wisdom there. There is a knowing. A deeper knowing of yourself, and through that, a deeper awareness of life itself. So we welcome what our heart brings to our awareness, what it holds. The heaviness, the love, the wisdom, the understanding. I want to just take a moment too to thank your body. Your body is so devoted to your soul being here. And so however it's shown up in the ways that maybe you haven't liked or have criticized or it's challenged you, just thank it for being the vessel that holds this great, big, unseeable love. And let that love permeate through your body. And a third breath animates what we want to take forward, how we can act in our world, in our life, from this awareness. What arises in you? Perhaps it's just to connect in this way more often. Perhaps it's to live this way more fully. To take a moment anytime we start to get run ragged by our thinking mind that wants to feel alone and feel separate and feel special, and to take a breath. Take a breath. And what awaits us there? And then take a breath to move back into life from that place of connection. From that place of wholeness that you can never be separate from. We are remembering that. are holy, holy, holy.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are home. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are home. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am whole. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am whole.
So just take a breath and return to this time and space. I think we have ushers that are making their way out right now. And before that, I want to say two things. Megan Watterson is wise to teach that even though you may not have a big awakening the moment you drop into your heart, the very act of doing that is healing. So it's a practice. And also, I just want to say that I will be doing a book study to go a little bit deeper into the history and the practices that Megan teaches on Wednesday evenings via Zoom. Starts this Wednesday. We do have the book in the bookstore. And we're only going to get through like the first 20 pages, so you still have time to grab it and join us. And then over the next 6 weeks, I believe, we'll be taking time to explore these 7 different climates of the ego and practices that we can learn to detach from them or see them in action and transform them. Okay? And yes, so now is the time in our service where we give of our good to support all that we do here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver, which is all completely supported by your donations. And I'd just like to remind us what we're about here through our mission. I invite you to know that you are a part of that by your presence, by your practice of what we're teaching, and certainly by your financial support. So I invite you to, however you are giving today, we have ushers coming around for cash and check. I know some of you give online, and there's a QR code in your bulletin if you'd like to learn how you can do that. But just affirm this with me now, what we're doing here and what you're helping to bring about. We inspire authentic connection with the divine, self, and others for spiritual growth, healing, and loving service in the world. Thank you.
Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Hey. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh. Look for the good in everyone. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. People done gone crazy. People done gone mad. People done forgot the superpowers we all have. We were born to love, not hate. We can decide our fate and look for the good in everyone and celebrate all of our mistakes. If there's a silver lining, you still have to find it, find it, find it. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Everyone needs sunshine. Everyone needs rain. Everyone is carrying around some kind of pain. I see who you are. You're just like me. I see you're searching for a purpose, guided by a dream. I see who you are. I'm just like you. I get lost sometimes and I forget what I came here to do. So keep on trying. When it gets frightening, look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Oh, look for the good in everyone. Come on, play it, Sydney. Everyone is nature. Everyone is God. Everyone is love and light and vibration. Look for the good. Look for the good. Everyone gets mad sometimes, and maybe we should. Look for the good. Look for the good. Oh yeah, look out for all the heroes in your neighborhood. Look for the good. Look for the good. Oh, life sure would be sweeter if everybody would. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good